Hi, I'm Ashley from Sunny Made, and today on Last Blocks we are going to finish up a quilt pattern called Midnight Garden. I don't know if you're anything like me, but I sometimes spend way too much time in my local quilt store. And when this fabric line came to be and it showed up in my favorite store, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to make something with it. And as I was looking at it, I was trying to decide what to do. And the owner was like, hey, do you want to make a shop sample? And the idea is I do all the work, I put it all together, it hangs in their store for a couple months, and then at the end I get it. And so at the end, I get to take it home at the end. And so when she said, do you want to make a shop sample? I was like, heck yeah, I want to make a shop sample. So today we are doing, this fabric line is called, and now I can't remember what it's called, Indigo Garden by Heather Peterson. See, I had to think about that. Indigo Garden by Heather Peterson. It's from Riley Blake Designs. And the quilt pattern itself is Midnight Garden by Anka's Treasures. And this is a 10-inch square friendly, fat eighth or fat quarter friendly. And I just used a 10-inch layer cake. I guess technically they're not layer cakes when they come from Riley Blake, but a 10-inch square. They're actually my favorite pre-cut to use. I think they're easy. You get a lot of fabric in them, fairly reasonably priced. So if you want some place to start, that would be a good place to start, is with a 10-inch layer cake. I am doing a throw size. I can't give you all the information because this is not my pattern, but I just kind of went down. It uses 38 of the 42 layer cake pieces. We're making flowers and tulips. I guess tulips are technically flowers. And so today I'm going to show you how to make the last two blocks. So here is the tulip version of it. We're going to start with that one. And then this is the other flower that goes with it. And they just go tulip flower. You sew them together in strips vertically instead of horizontally. Usually to me, when I do one, it's horizontal. And you sew them together vertically, and then you put a pretty border around it. And then you end up with a beautiful quilt with some fabulous colors. So today, right now, we're going to work on the tulip block. A lot of this pattern is, you can either call it the stitch and flip technique or a snowball technique. I plan to do a video specifically about it in the future, but pretty much what you're going to do is you put it on, you sew it, cut it, and flip it. Stitch and flip, right? So we're gonna start with, these are all my ones that I need to sew on my diagonal. So I'm just gonna take my pencil and do a mark right down it. Sometimes you can just use your foot and eyeball it. I did that on most of them, but you know, there is a right way to do things, and this happens to be the right way of doing things. So I'm just going to draw a line down the center of these. Now, when you're doing the stitch and flip, you're actually sewing on the line. And then with this yellow piece of fabric in the middle, we're actually making half square triangles. And it's that 2 at a time half square triangle technique that I've done a video about. So if you need more information on how to do that, go check that out. I got the last two blocks done, sewed them, let's see, in a row. Here are all my strips. Now it's time to sew the strips together, and then we're going to put on the borders, and then the top will be all finished. Well, it's all together. It needs a good pressing, so that's going to be my next step. I need to pull out my big ironing board. This one over here is not quite big enough, and make this all nice and flat and iron it good. Apparently, when I went and cut out my last blue border, I calculated wrong. So I'm going to have to cut a little piece here to get that all figured out and get that all seamed in, ironed flat. The last thing I need to do is put the final borders on it. Now, because this is a double border and it does get a little hard to sew borders on once the whole top is together, I'm actually going to put them together like this and sew them in just 4 pieces, one on each side, top and bottom, and then it'll be time to get on the long arm. Here you go. It is all done. It's quilted, it's bound, it's all ready to go and ready to hang in my favorite quilt shop that is just down the road. On the back, I put a Lux Minky, Lux Cuddle, I think is technically what it is. Red, because red is my favorite color. You can see the quilting in it, which is super fun. We did a diamond and looped pattern. I think that's actually what it's called. And this was actually the first time that I used a long arm that was, what would you call it? A computerized long arm. So they were teaching me how to do it. It was super fun to do, and I'm excited to try it again. I put a binding on it. I kind of call this my signature binding. It's a faux double binding. I like the little pop of color between the binding and the actual edge of the actual quilt. And look how great it looks. I love the colors. I love how it turned out. And now it's ready to go hang in the quilt shop. And what's super fun is that I can say I did it all myself. So now that this is done, I get to go finish another quilt and move on to another project.